You and I with Rashmi Shetty is a simple attempt of bringing in stories of people you and I can draw inspiration from. Ordinary folks, extraordinary lives. Their uniqueness and individuality that make them interesting to talk to and to listen to. A reaffirmation of the fact, open your eyes wider, the world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. Our guest today is Naveen Varshneya, an engineer and a serial entrepreneur, and the author of the book Meditation the Cure, and founder of www.curedemy.com. With his research and extensive work with chronic patients, he has established that the state of meditation is the state of cure. It was a simple statement from a random book that got stuck in his mind and led him to the path that he is now passionate about. The statement, a balanced electromagnetic field is the secret of well-being and health. And in this, he felt mystical powers that could be converted into science. Love the way Naveen, a multiple TEDx speaker, clearly explains how a small alteration can bring in a massive shift in our health and that we all are blessings of the universe. All we need to be is joyful. Hi Naveen, thank you so much for giving your time to be on You and I with Rashmi Shetty. It's a pleasure reconnecting. The last time we met, I knew you. I was introduced to you as a sleep therapist and want to know, what does Naveen call himself today?
I am known as author of the book Meditation the Cure. We know ourselves as a researcher because we're doing deep research in terms of health and well-being, where we established successfully in 11 years of research that cure is within you. And as long as humanity is dependent on any external agent, we can never eradicate suffering from the face of humanity. And in the book, I have established that in the courseware which we have online at curedemy.com, we teach that we're teachers, we're researchers. We've put together a nice course together, which is totally based on your experience, which means that you don't need to have faith. You can be skeptic, yet go through the course and you will experience the cure within you. We will not cure. So we are not healers. We are not spiritual organization. We are not counselors. And we are not therapists. We are researchers and teachers. Does that explain?
Explanation, well, that's what the conversation will do for us.
Sure.
And I'm curious where it all began. So can you take us back to little Naveen Varshneya, to the Naveen Varshneya the world knows now? How far can you go? And in case I have doubts, I'll stop you in between, but you can start your journey.
So one good thing which has happened is that 11 years back when it started with divine intervention, as little Naveen Varshneya, I continue to remain the same little guy. There's no growth there. However, the body of work has grown significantly. That it started with two things it started with. One, a statement which I read in a book saying that if electromagnetic field of a human body is balanced, then it will never attract any disease or suffering. So that's kind of a science, but I didn't even know what is the meaning of electromagnetic field at the time. But I understood that somebody saying it, so, and it is an ancient book on Tantra, so must be right. We just need to figure out and decode how to figure it out for common people that they can actually practice. For your and my understanding, what it meant was what we wrongly do today as pranayam, that is what electromagnetic field is. I said wrongly do it because we have distorted pranayam. Pranayam is not supposed to happen with this finger, but pranayam per se is the cure and prevention of every kind of suffering on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
And then second thing which started was very mystical in nature, that I happened to see a patient in ICU, which was a family member, and 40 days in ICU. Doctors had given up. Delhi, Apollo, high class, which means world class facilities are given, and everything there. And I discovered that this person will not go. So these two things happened 11, 12 years back. A statement here that health is electromagnetic field. And second, this. I do not remember which one happened first. They were almost around the time when I was doing nothing. I was just very fresh, sacked from a company where I was the vice president running a software company. And I had this with me. Not knowing what to do, I did what I did.
Not knowing what to do, you go into the ICU, you see this person, doctors have said no hope, and you now say that everything is on the prana, the breathing, but the pranayam that we do is wrong. Okay, now this is like a essay answer that you're going to give us. I'm not going to disturb you, but you're going to tell me at least simply what is it that you saw 11 years ago, 12 years ago, which pushed you, divine intervention it definitely is, but pushed you into this path?
My wife, she pushed me.
How? What did she notice in you?
Nothing. The problem is that she never pushes me, and that pushes me. I'm going to decode all this, but yeah, it's coming. I do not know why it is coming so mystical to you today. I'm not that complex guy as I'm appearing to be, but in simple words, I'm an engineer and I'm a serial entrepreneur. My company has failed after 10 years of researching and being first with various innovations. And the list goes on. I don't want to bore you with that. I was doing a job, and then I was not liking it. My boss was very kind enough, and he sacked me. And I was chilling out. Then this divine intervention happened. Then this one-liner I read. Then this patient, my relative said that he is, everyone from the family has gone and seen him. You are the only one who has not gone. And pay him a visit. Courtesy, because doctors have said 3, 4, 5 days maximum. So I went there and I felt that he will not die. I came out. I saw his pregnant wife, who I met for the first time, though relative, distant relative, and his brother, patient's brother. I do not know what I did for 2 hours that I spent with them and told them what they should be doing in terms of chanting a mantra like Om. Now, Om is given even by an auto driver to you when you are a little anxious, calm your breath down. How can you save an ICU patient with something as stupid as, or as trivia, so to say, or whether it's not trivia, but it is made trivia by us, Om kind of a mantra. Not knowing what I'm doing, but the next few days, I was just getting insights and insights and insights about the patient. And I kept giving, and I kept telling them that in 72 hours, this man will be out of danger.
Okay. Was this intuitive? Completely intuitive? 200%
intuitive. I was led. So when you said, who pushed you? So there was something which was pushing me. And I realized that in life, not just me, everyone. When you're totally empty, when you have nothing to do, no agenda, then you're like an empty vessel in which the universe wants to fill the light in and show you the direction and path. The problem is we are never empty.
Beautiful.
My situation was such that I was absolutely empty, not by choice, but through the series of choices I made in my life, I ended up being totally empty. While all the choices I did was to fill myself up with everything which every techno and entrepreneur would want to be filled with. So I was just thrown on the other side of the shore. And that's where the divine intervention happened. My only commitment at that point was, this is too scary for me. It will take away all the peace of my life. I hardly had any, but I do not know why I was very possessive about it. And it cannot be that one person becomes important in someone's life and saves. It was very important for me that we understand why it worked mystically. Can we bring out a science? So when you ask me a question from little Naveen to this little Naveen, which I am today, in 11 years, my 11 years have gone into decoding these two statements. And it has resulted into discovering that the cure is within you. It has resulted into not just one case, several cases of ICU and terminal cases have been reversed with the science we develop. Cancer is the easiest one to reverse, for example. We don't even pay extra attention to it because once you understand the science of it, then you find that is the easiest one. Why? Because more than trillion cells are being generated every day. Are you saying that you're scared of few 100,000 cells being extra in your body? I mean, it's a common sense. If I swim in the sea, are you saying that you are scared if I give you one balti water extra? So cancer is a kind of a very easy child to bring back to order. And you would also understand from science, there's a rule in science when we used to do IIT exams, that they used to do mathematics equation, and it is 1 mark, one number, not 5. So it's a complex equation. Always the answer to that complex equation was either 0 or 1. If you try to solve it, you can never solve it in 3 hours. So life is like this. If you find a problem is very complex, that means you have not understood the problem. Solution is very simple. That's how we decoded it. So to put it in short, in 11 years, we found that the cure is within you. We found 10 quantum principle of cure. We found out that any form of suffering human being has, right, is driven by an algorithm, suffering and success. So the choices you made in your life has led you where you are today, whether you are in bliss or in suffering or in pain. For everyone, there is an algorithm hidden inside each one of us. We have spoken about it. Ancient wisdom has talked about it, that if you pray connected to God or do tap, yoga, then you can decode it for yourself or you will feel guided. Even if you don't decode, you will feel guided that God is blessing you. Now, this is too complex a phenomena for a common man. So we took a route of forget about the blessing. It may come, it may not come. Yeah. Can logically I understand my algorithm? So we found that algorithm. So if you give me your suffering, for example, you say, so we define suffering in 3 ways. Distress, which means emotionally you're not contented or balanced. That means 7 billion people are covered in that. So look at the market size. Disorder, mental disorder. What is mental disorder? We define mental disorder as when mind begins to think on its own rather than you deciding what you should think. So anybody who reacts has a mental disorder. You have it, I have it. So another 7 billion added in the market size. Right? And disease is physical disease, thyroid and PCOD and all. So we defined suffering at 3 layers, and we found that 3 of them are interconnected.
Connected, yeah.
Liquid, gas, and solid state of water is known as distress disorder disease. It starts with distress, goes to disorder. If ignored, becomes a disease. So catch it young at distress level. So this has been the journey which I wrote it in the book after 7 years. Then last 4 years I spent on preparing the courseware. After doing the courseware, we found that we are still very big and complex for people to relate to. That's where last 9 months, the entire team is sitting together, coming out with one product called Sleep. Now we want to do storytelling so that people connect with their problem and also solve it while listening to that entire. So this is what the journey of little Naveen to little Naveen in 11 years.
Okay. The last time we met, it was at a conference, and I remember I was waiting to talk to you when I remember a mother coming to you and saying that I'm from IIT, my husband's from IIT, but my child is autistic. How's this possible? And he's a very hyperactive kid. Can you do anything to help me? And what fascinated me was the answer which you gave, which where you just smiled and you said, where both of you come from doesn't matter. There are many other factors which are important here, and maybe you can bring him over. Let me see and let you know. And I was like, okay, that's a very nice answer to give in a crowded place to let the mother know that calm down, we have something we can talk about. And that approach for me was something which was really interesting. And then I got my chance to speak to you and invited you. That conversation I do remember, because post that I had come to your sleep therapy and had experienced it myself because I was curious to know what sleep is all about. And currently, with everything moving to the virtual medium in the last 18 to 20 months, everyone's suffering sleep. And everyone knows because work timings have extended. And there is no, like many people, especially women and mothers, say that we had a definite lunch break, a coffee break, and a work time. But now that we are working from home, there is no time limit. Anytime they expect us to be online, they want us to log in because we are at home. So if I don't call it work-life balance, but that's what is normally called, I feel somewhere people have lost their account to themselves on how much sleep they need. So that is where I got back in touch with you because sleep became a big challenge. And here you're bringing everything to sleep. And you're saying all the D's that you discovered for suffering starts with sleep. So can you make it simpler for us?
First of all, I'm thankful to you for reminding me my answer to that conference. That conference remains a turning point in my life. If I'm allowed to speak for a minute,
sure,
because I never spoke about India Inclusion Summit.
Yeah,
it seems that practically everyone in that hotel. I was told later on by the organizer, Firoz, the MD of SAP,
yeah,
that practically everyone there has come to listen to me because I was projected, not rightly or wrongly, but I was projected as a healer who can heal mental disorder. And I was doing that part only. So I had been doing mental disorder at the time. I had, by then, had successfully done several cases of schizophrenia, OCD, and all that. And so
meaning what were you doing with that? You were helping people calm down with all those problems or healing them of the problem? What were you famous for?
Initial days when I did not know the science, when I was learning, as I said, we found out an algorithm where every suffering is rooted in the events of your life. The base of that goes back to 11 years back when I met the schizophrenia patient, and I did not know what is schizophrenia. But when I heard his story, and because I knew how to balance the electromagnetic field, so it became a quick remedy. So the solution did happen to you, but I didn't know what worked. But when I met the second patient who had OCD, I found similarity in schizophrenia and in OCD. But then I met third patient who had hyperactive anxiety disorder. I found further similarity in 3 cases, but few events were different. That's how I discovered over a period of 7 years how the common events, then the unique events, create a unique path, unique choices, and unique symptoms. You get the picture now?
Yeah.
So I'll say, for example, to you, the root cause of cancer is lack of love from mother, disconnected from mother.
Oh, okay.
There's no other reason. So I'll drill down all the symptoms will get disappeared or everything will happen. But finally, I will have to bring the patient back to this particular aspect. However, same is the reason behind a woman suffering with PCOD. So how do you differentiate between the two? This is the root cause. But subsequent choices made decide whether one person will end up with cancer or PCOD or infertility or relationship problems.
Okay.
So when I was there in that conference, I went on the stage when Feroz was interviewing me. I know that my hands were trembling. I was not able to hold the mic. The expectation of the people were overwhelming. And after that, one or two people who came to my center and I did work on disability patient, certain amount of healing was done by me. That day until today, I do not touch a disability case because enormous amount of pain which they carry in their soul, it's impossible for a human being to touch.
Oh, okay.
They should be left there. So what we found is, for that lady, for example, we work very extensively. When ladies come and say, my child, mothers come, when they say the child has a problem, we work on mother. Garbh sanskar. We found the science behind Garbh sanskar. Say, how do you pass on to one child this ability, to another child this kind of a weakness of yours? And in what circumstances you would do that? What is the trigger in which you pass that on? For example, you'll say, oh, I had a very traumatic pregnancy, yet your child is healthy and going to IIT. The other lady would say, oh, I had a normal pregnancy, by and large, thoda bahut to har jagah hota hai, and my child is autistic. Right? What is beneath that? So we found that algorithm. When we diagnose them, they fill up the form and they discover, and they say, oh my God, this event had happened and I had turned hopeless. It is only in the state of hopelessness that you pass on the wrong sanskar to the child, the nervousness. So child is a symptom. You work on the mother, mother can reverse because everything is energy. There is nothing like now it is material, so it is fixed. There is nothing like that. It's quantum physics, it's all vibratory. Mothers do that and they see the child reversing. So this is a normal thing in NV Life courseware. And every month we see mothers changing themselves and changing their child behavior. So sleep, which is at the root of everything, actually is one of the three pillars. So in the book, I have established that if your three pillars are intact, sleep, breathe, and sexuality, not sex, sexuality, which further ties it down to breathing only, actually. With every breath, you have a prana going. Prana is getting transformed into various emotions, various needs of the physical body. And it is prana at the root. That's where the sexuality bit comes in. So sleep, as you know me, was one of the three pillars. When you talk about pandemic causing the effect, sleep was not a problem because of pandemic. Your requirement for sleep, first of all, has gone down. Because more you go away from nature in the day, more you need time to bounce back and align with the nature, and sleep does that. So if you say, I need 6 hours of sleep or 8 hours of sleep, that's useless to talk about it. Because if I have stayed close to my heart, I have been exhibiting my spirit. For example, what you're doing right now is you're all the time doing what your spirit is asking you to do, for example. Yes, of course, your body and my body and every body has 18% carbon, and we have to deal with necessities and survivals and other issues. If they are not sorted out, we would have certain level of stress. But the certain level of stress is not enough to disrupt the nature where the sleep is disrupted. So I don't need 8 hours. You don't need 8 hours. It depends if your day has been really away from you doing something with Your heart doesn't say, your mind is busy in survival, manipulating, controlling, and running, chasing. People who have now started to work from home are realizing that they're more in balance, more at peace. Man and women both are loving the idea that they are not wearing this unnecessary leather belt and the tie on a Zoom call. They're spending less time in the stress, more elaborate work. Yes. Second, accountability has grown for people. Earlier at work, they would just do water cooler conversation. I'm giving you a totally different perspective because we are overwhelmed with this feeling. The common narrative is that pandemic has caused havoc to the people's life. And yes, it has caused havoc to people's life where people who were not really grounded among themselves, those who were flying very high and living in false means, or not false, but whatever, which was not inner world, which was outer world, they are finding it difficult. For them, work-life balance, which is a cliche statement, because every 1 month we find one statement comes in and that becomes cliche because on internet, everything becomes cliche very fast. And then we don't want to solve that problem because that is cliche. Then we invent another word. But the problem remains the same, that we are not sleeping properly, whether it is work-life balance or not. So yes, sleep has a process, Rashmi, which we are revealing in the this thing. We are losing sleep not because of pandemic. Pandemic, it got precipitated a disorder which we were carrying for last 2-3 decades of urbanization, globalization, industrialization, and adapting to the modern life of technology and everything. Pandemic just precipitated and said, guys, do you know that you were carrying this problem inside?
So the main pillar is sleep. Now you said 8 hours, 7 hours sleep is not the count. So what is the count to know that you had a rested night? How do you know it's good sleep? You've got a good night's rest.
We have it on the website, promoting it heavily to people. The problem is that when you tell people the deepest secret free of cost, they say, no, we need to find, okay. So now we're packing it in and charging high, and they're saying, yes, we need this. Let me give it free again, because something for the humanity should continue to go whether one day they will listen. There's a very simple test, Rashmi. And the test is, when you wake up in the morning, doesn't matter how many hours you were sleeping, if first few microseconds, and I'm really going to micro level so that you don't take the pressure. If you do not know who you are, where you are, totally lost, but very joyful like a child. Microseconds I'm talking about. Then again, the mind will take over, and that means you slept perfect and ideal. That means you're not going to age. That means you're not going to catch disease. That means you will not get under stress. And next part is, you only ask for the good sleep, but I'm giving you one more extra tip. If you can take that joy of microsecond in Brahma Muhurat and meditate on it, it will amplify. That's why there's a significance of waking up at Brahma Muhurat and enhancing that small bit, which is like a seed given to you. You enhance it the first thing in the morning by meditating on it. So sleep has a process. This is your test that this is how you should wake up. If you don't wake up like this, that means you are not doing something right about the sleep. Sleep is like a Cinderella story. She must go home, else she will turn poor. Sleep is ab laut chale. We go home. Home into the universe from where our origin is. Process of sleep starts at 3 p.m.
Oh, okay.
You could continue to work till 9, but process of sleep or process of going back home starts at 3. That's why there is a tradition of Godhuli evening when animals are coming back and farmers are coming back home, and there are a lot of folk songs and everything, because that's the time of convergence. That's the time of pain as well. Pain of losing a day, no matter how beautifully you spent it, one day less in your life. So if you connect to that pain while still in the boardroom meeting, great. You don't have to leave that. So it starts from there. It has all those steps involved, from pain to consolidation, to contentment, to faith, to union, to feel complete, to hope for tomorrow, which makes you curious to sleep. So in one word, if you have to ask me, how do I know that I slept well? The one word is, which I just gave you. And what did go wrong in my sleep? I was not curious about sleep before going to sleep. A short answer. But the process for that goes that deep. That's why the whole content of sleep has taken us 12 hours of content on OTT platform. Than just saying these 2 lines.
Wow, this is, I'm curious, Naveen, now, when you're saying all of this, India as a culture was very close to what the universe, the nature designed, how life should be. And we lost it somewhere in the process. It's coming back from the West, wrapped in a different piece of cloth. And acceptance seems far more easy. But if we go back to our Vedic system, if we go back to how India was before all the industrialization happened, is this something that you are telling just now about from 3 p.m., the sleep process begins? Because at that time, there was no electricity or power. So the sunset and sunrise decided how the day begins and ends. Is this on that principle that we have the circadian rhythm and all the other things that play a role that we need to go back to?
Yes, it is coming from there. What I just spoke to you is something for ancient time. Every culture, every civilization, including India, was practicing. Forget practicing. We don't even have to talk about thousands of years back. If you look at your parents and grandparents, you will find that they were intuitively doing it because it was part of their culture. Why did they create a culture? Someone in our ancient wisdom knew that this has to be followed to be aligned with nature. First thing you have to know is that you're not born here to suffer. You're not a punishment of universe. And if that is true, which it is, then there are secrets hidden. If you follow that from the nature, you will always lead a good life. Good life means happy, healthy life, purposeful life. Going by that, so our parents did that, intuitively did that. Give you a very simple thing. You know the Jain tradition, right? Jain religion. They eat at 6 o'clock, sunset, around sunset. Now, are they the only people who eat at 6 o'clock? No. Even you are not a Jain, I'm not a Jain, but we saw our eating that. Why Jain created that? If you look at that religion, that created a lifestyle. It's a religion which created a lifestyle, and a component always is spiritual and devotional. But lifestyle, if you follow, will always lead you to faith. So what happens when you eat at 6 o'clock, whether light there or not? You work throughout the day for survival. Even you're passionate about yourself or you're working for earning your bread, regardless. You have just 18% carbon in your body and you have to meet the needs of the body. Food is required. 6 o'clock when you eat food, or 5:36, around sunset, it consolidates your day. Which means I worked hard for the day and I could eat, which means I could survive. I feel safe and secure. Do one thing. If you are in a practice of eating at 6 o'clock, then eat for 2-3 days at 8 or 9 or 10. You will know that a feeling of lack is continuing in you. And if you do not have this tradition of 6 o'clock eating, then do that for 5-6 days. And then come back again to that. And you will know the difference in the evening in the feeling of contentment and the lack you are feeling. So now you continue with this lack till 8 o'clock. You're feeling that you are empty, something is missing in you. You'll bang head with your partner at 9 o'clock. Because you now need to be feeling complete. Now the day is over. So your demands from other person will grow. You'll become very demanding and pushing. And that's how the relationships are also getting affected. Forget health. So it starts with relationship, and relationship starts with you feeling the lack inside first. That's why the cure is within you.
We are all living on hacks. So is there a hack on having a perfect day? Now, Brahma Muhurta starts at 3:30 in the morning. If you're going to start that early, 3:34 in the morning, is there like a perfect day hack that you start at 4 in the morning and you end in bed at, say, 8:30, 9, 10 max? And you know you've done justice to the body that you've been blessed with. Is there like a, don't give all the details, I won't do injustice because you agreed to come on this podcast. Just give the simplest hacks anyone can follow for an ideal day and make this as a discipline.
That's a tough one, but I'll attempt.
Oh, I thought it's going to be very easy for you.
We have the day divided in 8 pairs. Rather than giving you a hack of a perfect day, if I am allowed to change this question slightly and yet answer the same thing,
Sure.
in potentially,
Yes.
in potentially a better way, better in the sense, more easy for people to
Follow.
see. We need a foot in the door.
Hmm.
So I have messed up my life, you have messed up your life, fine. We're looking for hack, great. So we need a foot in the door to reverse the. So you have few entry points in the day where you can start to automatically, effortlessly begin to transform, in the sense, start getting aligned. So if I give you a hack for the day, for example, wake up at 4, which is what West does, and then you have instruction set, and then they deploy a coach and a mentor and send you the bill, which is heavy, which causes you more stress than the stress you had so far in your life. So rather than doing that kind of a hack, which is very heckling, by the way, change one thing. I gave you one today. It's easy for you. You can always move your food habit from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Just do that blindly. Don't think about it. Do that for 7 days. Doable. It's practical, right? You can't do this? Great. Don't do that. Take second one. Between 3:30 to 4:30, you in any case have a habit of having a break and having a coffee. Break from your work for 15 minutes and go out and connect with the nature. Connecting with the nature means just have a small walk or sit outside. Don't be in the glass building. 4:30. 3 to 4:35, no fixed timing. Intuitively, you know. So you say, okay, 5 o'clock every day, I'll take a break for 15 minutes. And I'll just listen to the sound of birds chirping and all that. So you're connecting back. So you're connecting to the pain. You can do that. Go to bed by 9. You can do that. Then make sure that you don't sleep after 12 o'clock. Do that before that. Because 12 to 3 is a period of dark. When all the dark inside you is getting grounded, if you are awake, it comes in you. So you can actually experience that. 12 to 3, if you remain awake, do nothing. Don't occupy your mind. You will find an enormous amount of fear coming. And next morning, you will find, how do you know that fear has come in? I'll tell you the example. You're waiting for your son to come from school bus. Sounds like a dream because of pandemic, but once upon a time, it used to happen. Not very long ago. You have a joy of meeting him. If you have remained awake from 12 to 3, you will find in that joy, you are unnecessarily getting the fear that bus may meet with an accident. See your quality of life getting affected, a feeling of joy becoming a fear. And if you continue doing that for several days and weeks and months, you become a panic kind of a mother, right? So the joy is gone from you. So do that. Don't sleep after 12. Make sure that you are there. Most important thing among all that is from 3 p.m. to 9:15, start dropping your mind. Have faith in tomorrow, that tomorrow will come. And that will make you curious about sleep. Then you will be ready to go home. So any of these things, if you just pick one, multiple choice questions, pick one. And practice a few days, you will find that automatically life is becoming effortless. Everything is getting alive. So foot in the door.
This is so beautiful, Naveen. And I know now I would love to keep the conversation on, but I'm not going to take away all of your time.
Sure.
The pandemic has been a reflective space for a lot of us. Nature has told us who's the boss, and we have seen magic happen around us and nature thriving. So, what have your specific takeaways from the pandemic been?
First of all, there was an excitement that pandemic happened. I sound as if I'm really this thing, but then we researched also. So as you just said, I'm sure you, me, and every one of us felt quite joyful to see that several years of disorder in the nature corrected in a month or so. Everyone was very happy to know who is the boss. And all of us who were feeling very overwhelmed with all kind of disasters which humanity is causing, we were turning hopeless. Ki kya hoga is manavta ka aage chal karke. We became very hopeful. And I loved this part when I saw the spark on the faces of people saying, hey, there is a hope, there is a tomorrow. Nature will correct. So I think this was the biggest takeaway. And the second was when we did the research and we figured out why a pandemic happens. We found out that it always happens to take away what is obsolete and bring the new quantum level. For example, two things we were doing obsolete for last at least 20, 30 years. Ask any parents, ask any students, and they will tell you, I don't see any significance of going to school and getting educated. They were doing it because engineer banna hai, padhai karna. But just giving you the cramped up thing and you memorize them, which are available on Google. So the whole education pattern system became obsolete after Google. We don't need to send children to mug up Mughal Raj or Indian freedom fight mein kya hua, because a small search on Google gives you that. So one is that. And the second thing was, it did not make sense for people to drive for 2 hours in Bangalore city, to travel 10 kilometers, and stand next to the water cooler, do gossip, claim productivity, and then feel insecure about their job. So going to office was in a post-internet era, was an obsolete thing. Industry did not take more than a week to quickly get back on their feet. So travel, information becoming knowledge, knowledge becoming wisdom. I have a choice now to go to the school and do actually a debate and a research rather than going for the information. So the new era which is going to come, or new normal which will come, is where I will have more degree of freedom in doing what I'm doing rather than compulsion driven. So we are very happy with this pandemic, not because it is virus and causing devastating effect, but what it will bring out. So the people who would see that day are the people who are sensitive about it and getting aligned to it. Those who are saying, oh, I need my old normal, sorry, old normal is old, obsolete.
You know, Naveen, it's fascinating to see how you're putting things together and it's all making sense. 3 life lessons that you have learned in all these years that you'd like to encapsulate. 3 life lessons.
One key learning which I have is I never trust my mind 100%. I continue to question it. 2, if I'm facing a problem which has been solved by others, that means I'm not thinking right. And 3rd, which Einstein said in a different way, which I just mentioned to you also, it cannot happen that there is something complex problem which you cannot solve. If you find a situation which is complex, pull back. It is either not a problem or the solution is within you. Simple one. So I never suffer because of my mind creating problems. When something fails, it's not a failure for us. That means we were attempting to do something which was not aligned to our nature. But you said 3, I gave you 4.
Thank you. Through and through, you've been very generous, Naveen. Thanks a lot. And like always, a pleasure talking to you. And just the fact that we need to alter one little thing and getting back to what we are healthy beings that we are blessed with and blessings of the universe, I think was the most powerful statement that I take away. And just the fact that we know we are blessings, we experience we are blessings, and live our life joyfully can shift a lot in the way we lead lives is the best takeaway that I got from this conversation. Thank you so much, Naveen, for being on You and I with Rashmi Shetty. A pleasure. Stay blessed. Stay inspiring like you always are.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for bringing out so much out of me. No, I'm so glad that if a bit can go out and people can begin to experience that the cure is within them. It helps in my vision because my vision is to see cure in every household. I wrote the book for that purpose. Everything which I'm doing is for that purpose, that every household should have that. Like every household has at least one person who knows how to cook and not dependent on Swiggy. Yeah. They can choose to be. Likewise, health and well-being is internal matter. Cure is within you. You're not born to suffer. Every household should know how to cure themselves, not to depend on external agents. Thank you so much for letting me say all this.
And all I can say is Tathastu for this dream of yours and to see a healthy India back again, healthy world rather. In the universe.
Thank you so much,
Naveen.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
With that, we come to the end of this weekly quest of You and I with Rashmi Shetty. Do let us know if you know people who make the world beautiful. Write in to rashmi.thethirdeye@gmail.com. That is rashmi.thhirdeye@gmail.com. Come, let's explore this amazing world together, both you and I.